Oops, I just re-muted myself there. Hey, and we are live, and I am with Richard Lacey, Coldwell Banker, Tamarindo. Welcome, Richard. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much for inviting me on today. Yes, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. We've got a great conversation to talk about today. You are the founder of several companies involved in luxury real estate development, villa management in Costa Rica. So let's just jump right in here. Let's start out with, why in the world did you start Tamarindo Rich, your YouTube channel, which I find very cool, actually?
Well, I mean, taking a step back, the reason I chose Costa Rica is just because it's spectacularly gorgeous. You know, weather's ideal year round, beaches are incredible, people are lovely, girls are gorgeous. It's just an idyllic place to live. And so I've been involved in real estate there in Costa Rica for 20 odd years. And people always ask me the same 10 or 15 questions, and I was just a little bit lazy. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do some videos just on 10 or 15 most asked questions. And so I started doing these videos and was storing them on my computer. And then my computer got full, so I thought, I'll put them on YouTube. It's free. And then I remember I called my mum once and I said, hey, 100 people have watched my videos. Can you believe that? 100 people want to spend their lives looking at my face. And now fast forward a year, I think we're on something like 330,000 views. And it's something that's really resonated with people. Tamarindo Rich, it was just set up to give zero bullshit advice. There's so many videos around now. This is beautiful, and this is amazing, and do this, and come here, spend your money. And mine are gritty and just calling it how it is, like I was talking to a mate over a drink. And actually some pushback from other realtors in Costa Rica. They call me and say, what the hell are you doing telling people this? The weather isn't good in these months, or whatever, there's crime or whatever it is. But I think the thing to do is just call it how it is, and people come to you. It's a self-selecting group that they're more informed. And by the time they come talk to me, they got a realistic view of how things are.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what attracted me to it. Was I love the fact that it's real, authentic. It's things people need to know and want to know, and it is so. I just love how you approach it. Is that these are the real questions that people are really asking, and let's not even talk about the bug population here.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So all that to say, I was also attracted to it from just the frankness and then the different video aspects of the things you showed were just remarkable. But you threw in, you spiced it up with some great tips on some places to visit, places to see, and restaurants, things like that as well, right?
Well, yeah, I mean. So you've got two groups of people really that come to me. Ones that are just thinking about coming to Costa Rica for a vacation. It's their first time. What do they need to know? And then the second group of people that, we love Costa Rica, we want to buy. How do we go about it? What should we be doing? So really, there's two chapters, if you like, in the videos I've got for those. But I'd say for first-time visitors, you need a minimum of like 10 days. Get a decent rent-a-car, one of those little ones. Don't get the cheapest one, because although there's nothing we need 4x4, you do need ground clearance and there's big old potholes as big as your car. So, you need ones that aren't going to get a flat tire. And then just plan a route, and don't spend too much time driving. A few days in the rainforest, a few days at volcano, a few days at the beach. And I'd say as a first trip, 3, 4 destinations, 2 or 3 nights each, that's absolutely the best option.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, as you mentioned, you've been here a long time. You're originally from the UK, and but you have a lot of experiences. And it just so happens that you love Costa Rica. Why? Why do you love Costa Rica like a lot of us do?
I would say number one thing is community, right? Because wherever you go in the world, I mean, there's beautiful beaches around the world, but you want to be around like-minded people in a comfortable atmosphere, you know, having a beer, looking at the sunset with your friends and family around you. And Costa Rica has something for different age groups. So if you're 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, 50, 60, 70, there are things to do. So you tend to get multi-generational families coming to stay. So, you know, if you're looking at retiring there, you know, you want your kids and your grandkids to have things to do and come and visit you. And that is absolutely there in spades. And then like-minded people, there's a lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of Euros actually, and Brits that are moving there now. So you've got this wonderful multicultural atmosphere. And, you know, what I find is when you're at home, you stay in your lane. Your friends are people in the same social economic group, same color, same age, same nationality. And when you're in Costa Rica, you're sitting around a dinner table with 8 friends, and there'll be 6 different countries and, you know, 20, 30-year age differences and stuff. And so I think that's the biggest factor why I love Costa Rica. I'd say that is. And then you've got everything that everyone talks about. You know, the weather's perfect 10 months of the year. You know, sunsets, even after 26 years, I still take photos of the sunset. I mean, it's
Right.
but I still get excited by how things are there. And I'd say it's rustic enough that you know you're not in North America. I mean, you know, when you're there, you know, every day, it's kind of funky and different. But, you know, it's that rich cultural experience, I would say. It's not like being in Hawaii or, you know, being in the Keys or something like that.
Yeah, but my first experience, I think, was around 2004 here when the roads were not paved at all. We flew into the Tamarindo airport and stayed at the Capitan Suizo place, and the potholes were bigger than they are now. At least there's some paved roads here, but even then, there were not the multitude of hotels and places to stay, the dozens and dozens of restaurants of every type that you have here in Tamarindo. And of course, you know, my good friend, speaking of culture, you know, my good friend Joe, the saxophone player from New Jersey and New York City, and he makes his rounds here, and it's just a delight to see him still performing. So, as you say, you get to meet new people, cultural, and oh, by the way, I got to meet the famous surfer from the Surfer movie that lives here now. All the hunting,
Robert August.
Yeah, Robert August. I met Robert at the Witch's Rock restaurant, and he was in there.
He's a great guy. I think he got hit in the head by a surfboard a few too many times. No, he's a great guy. Yeah, he's a mate of mine over there.
But there's still dozens and dozens of surfers that come to this area just for surfing as well, right?
Right. Well, I mean, Tamarindo. I mean, I'm Tamarindo Rich. I lived in San Jose and I lived all around the country, but I made my home Tamarindo, and I love that place. And it's been my town from when it was just, you know, 2 roads and 2 bars and one man and his dog. And I mean, there were still only 2 roads, but it's moved into this multinational, awesome community. Like, as you say, restaurants from 15 different countries. Absolute world-class surfing, and the way Tamarindo got discovered was Robert August did this film called, was it Big Tuesday, where he traveled around the world with a bunch of mates in the 1960s discovering new surf breaks, and part of it was done. He's rowing into the beach in a building I used to live in Pacific Park, and it was just amazing. And really, that was how it converted it from being, you know, a fishing village, hippie hangout, surfers hangout, to being this just great little community.
And I've got to throw this in because I love boating and all that kind of stuff. And you happen to be a yacht skipper, avid sailor. Can you talk just a little bit about being on the water?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sailing is my passion, and I'm on a route to get my full skipper's license. I'm licensed up to 75 feet right now. I'm sailing and motorboats, and I just love a day on the water. And coming out of Tamarindo, I mean, there's Flamingo, like Flamingo Marinas running now, and I think they've got, I don't know, 120 slips for boats 45 foot and upwards, and that's just transforming the area because it's just bringing in a lot of yachties, and you've got the same thing as the rest of the world. You can do day charters, and there's some just awesome beaches to go to. And actually, we run a couple of tours where we'll take a group out to some hidden beach, and you really get that experience. I think it was Jurassic Park, when they come into the island and they come in and they put the picnic table, and we actually run little picnics like that, little day trips. And then if people want to charter boats for a week and go a little bit further afield, and it's North Pacific, bathwater temperature, gorgeous. Pick your day, but if there's not too much wind, you've got some amazing visibility, and the whales down there, tons of dolphins, turtles, a ton of things to see.
Yeah, I got a chance to see the Flamingo, the new pier under construction, and now it's functional now, I guess. But that's another totally beautiful area. There's so many beaches in a row, as you mentioned here in the area, that there's a lot to discover, right?
Yeah, and just putting on my realtor hat on, Flamingo area, which is just 20 minutes north of Tamarindo, half an hour north of Tamarindo, has always been a little bit run down and really just not a lot happening. And now with this enormous marina coming in, there's so much opportunity for people buying at what are really reasonable prices. Like where you're going to see price appreciation over the last 5 years is going to be in that Flamingo area. There's lots of, in that marina, there's going to be 2 helicopter pads and 2 5-star hotels and a whole load of things going in there. So it's really going to transform the nature of that area, because Tamarindo is sort of reaching maturity level, I would say, as far as services and infrastructure. And Flamingo isn't there yet. And I think bringing this marina, which is just an enormous investment, I think that's going to absolutely transform that area. So, when I'm talking to clients now that are looking, for capital growth, I'm pushing them towards the Flamingo area.
Absolutely. And of course, a friend of mine runs the wonderful restaurant there, Angelina's, and I like to eat there. There's a ton of restaurants that I like, so I can't name 100 restaurants that I've tried out. But
they're not going to serve you, or they're spitting your food, right? You don't mention it, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But you are a member of the CLHMS, the Luxury Home Marketing Guild, and you are an accredited Coldwell Banker Global Luxury Property Specialist. You've got a fantastic track record in luxury property development over the years, and we worked with some stuff for you down here that's brand new and up on top of the mountain in Tamarindo as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think what's important is if you're buying in your home market, then over years you've built up an infrastructure of people around you, a lawyer you trust, an accountant you trust, a real estate agent you trust. You know the areas, you need to be here because that's the area where you need your kids to go to school. And when you come to Costa Rica, you're often starting from zero. And the reason I have the Coldwell Banker office rather than be Richard Lacey, Richard Lacey Realty, which I easily could be now, but I need the Coldwell Banker brand and the luxury accreditation, because I'm luxury accredited within the Coldwell Banker, that if you sell a certain number of properties over a certain value for a number of years, then you do a course, you get the accreditation. And the same with the Luxury Home Guild. I think these things are important for people coming in, more so in the home market, because people need to know a bit of you. They're just seeing you for the first time online and deciding who they're working with. So I think it's really critical when they're making a decision, because your number one choice is your realtor, really. And then your realtor's recommending everybody else. So I would say if you get in with the wrong guy to start with, he's and he's a bit dodgy or a bit lazy or a bit, not doing his job right. He's recommending all his mates, because guess what? All his mates, his friend, the lawyer's the same, and his friend, the accountant's the same, and his friend, the gardener's the same. So it's really important up front to get in with the right circle, because then they're going to recommend the right people, the right professionals, and also the right friend group as well. So that's part of the reason I went through all this accreditation procedure, and stayed with a major brand like Coldwell Banker, really just to give a confidence to buyers when they're coming in. Because I've heard horror stories about people leaving their common sense at home. A really lovely couple, and this is not a criticism of them, but they didn't know when they came in, but they want to put an offer on a house, and they send 100,000 to their realtor, and guess what? Realtor disappears, and the poor guys lost it, and they weren't a wealthy couple, and it was a real blow. And so I think it's just really important up front to make the right decisions about who you're going to start to work with, and from there everything else sort of flows out.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, Coldwell Banker has such an incredible training program, and credibility and honesty factor that is essential for, quite frankly, for anybody's business. If you want to really survive, it's all about relationships and doing things right to begin with. So how should someone go about buying in Costa Rica?
Okay, so I mean, the key thing within Costa Rica is decide where, because it's a small country. But within that country, there's a massive choice between whether you're in the mountain or in the Central Valley, where the capital San Jose is, or if you're at one of the beaches. So that's your first key decision, because if you're living up in the mountain in a very, spring-like temperature, very rustic, shall we say, or if you want to be in the Central Valley, which is, it's not a big city, but it's got that big city feel and traffic jams and whatever, but I would say somewhat cosmopolitan. I lived there for 10 years and absolutely loved it. All the beaches where, you can go anything from a beach with 2 shacks on it up to Tamarindo Jaco, that are, really quite well-developed beaches. And then weather. The Costa Rica is full of microclimates. So, if you're in the rainforest or if you're at the beach, where I'm in the Pacific Northwest, it's tropical dry forest. So it's dry most of the time. And if you're in the south in Dominical, then you're in the rainforest area and it rains a lot of the time. So it just depends where you want to be. So I'd say the first time you come down, if you really sort of got an eye on buying, hire a decent car, plan to spend a couple of nights at 2 or 3 different beaches, a couple of the things inland, and talk to, what I do when I have clients, I recommend experts in each area. I think the best thing to do is for a client to work with the most educated person about any particular area. So rather than me being precious and drive them around the country to beaches that I don't really know, I'd far rather refer them over to Coldwell Banker agents in the local markets. And then they'll come here and they'll meet, my friend David down in the south and my friend Mike here, and then they come and see me in Tamarindo, and then I'll try and convince them that Tamarindo is a place to be, because I think it's the most awesome place in the world. And to your point about Coldwell Banker having a training program, I mean there are 3,000 Coldwell Banker offices around the world. There are 10 in Costa Rica. I think there are 70 or agents that we have now in Costa Rica, and they all need to go through a training program with us, and then also with the professional body. And I'll only take agents on if they've got what I think it takes, and then we train them up. And if that we need the right kind of people that are going to put the energy in, have the right smarts, have the right ethics, and then they also need to be trained. And so I think any Coldwell Banker agent you talk to in Costa Rica is going to meet that criteria.
And I think you've touched on it somewhat, but you did touch on the recommendations that you have for first-time visitors. And there's kind of like you mentioned in describing it, kind of like a buying cycle, that they might come down here and visit, go back and come back, go back and forth. And there's a kind of a time frame involved. You did describe some of that. Share us a little bit more about what meeting expectations. I think expectations is the big word, right?
Yeah. Well, I always tell people to take their time. There's no rush. Come down, spend some time here, go back home, talk to friends and family, and then come back again. Because often, our busy season there's Christmas to Easter. So our largest number of visitors there are in that period. But when we actually close deals, it's actually in the off season, sort of you know, like right now, so June, July through to October, because that's when people are coming back and there are less people around, there's more time. And that's when people are really making buying decisions and putting their offers in. So I think that's the key thing, because it's, yeah, it's a big investment. You know, usually after the first home, this is their second largest investment, and it needs to be the right one because it's a lifestyle choice. It's not like putting your money in the stock market. This is a lifestyle decision. So you're going to make money because, you know, everybody if they're not staying 12 months of the year, and I'd say about 80% of people are not buying to move, they're buying to be down 12 weeks a year. And then we put in a rental, a property management pool and rent it out. And if anyone's stayed in Costa Rica, they know it's not cheap to stay per night. And once you become an owner, that makes sense on your return on investment, because, you know, really we rent probably 60% of the year. So that means you're covering all your expenses and making probably 8-10% return on investment. And also there are plenty of holes where you come down with friends and family, or, you know, send your employee down as, you know, salesman of the month. So there are lots of ideas for doing that. And I wrote, I produced a number of videos on this subject. So, you know, top 10 don'ts when you come to Costa Rica, which now I think's had 120,000 views, and it's just really resonated. And when I wrote it and then filmed it, I thought it was a bit risky because I was making some digs at some ex-girlfriends of mine, you know, about what not to do, about not falling in love with a Costa Rican girl.
Yes, I saw that.
I'm joking around here, but also good things. You know, what month to come down in, 8 things you need to know before you buy property down here, how to choose a property manager, how to choose a realtor. So I'd say if anybody's thinking about coming over, then please just Tamarindo Rich, just watch that series of videos. I promise you it'll help you make better decisions.
Yeah, there we go. Let me change this. Yeah, and one of the things that is important for people to know is that most people out of the country that buy here, there's no mortgage per se.
Yeah, cash only.
Yeah, cash only. So you come in and as you mentioned in that transaction gone bad sample, is that you basically don't have a mortgage and you own the place free and clear based on a cash purchase, correct?
Yeah, that's the way it works. Yeah, really, as I say, there's a video on this, but the banks will tell you they do lend to foreigners, but really they don't. So the reality is you just need to come in thinking it's going to be a cash purchase and set your expectations on Property Star based on that.
And the also there's some things that you would be showing people, I'm sure, with your group of experts, as well as in regard to even having a bank account in Costa Rica. It's different here. How's that work?
So as a non-resident, you can't open a bank account, but there is a workaround. So often when you buy, the way we structure it, when you buy properties, you buy a corporation, and then the corporation buys the property, and that gives you certain protections. For example, if you're in a car crash and you injure somebody and then they sue you, they might be, if you own the property directly, they might be able to put a lien out directly over your property. Whereas if you're just owning shares in a corporation, then you have an extra level of protection. And then that same corporation is used for your vacation rental income. So, you know, you have a business in Costa Rica, which is getting vacation rental income and has expenses on the home. And so you run the expenses and the income through that corporation and pay taxes on that in Costa Rica. And then if you do want a bank account, then you can open a bank account in that corporation's name because it's a Costa Rican corporation. So that's a workaround. Now, most people don't bother because it's a hassle and the banks are a frigging nightmare. And there's a video on that as well. You know, I've been there 20 odd years, and when I opened a new bank account for my new property management company a while back, I think it took me 8 hours of being in the bank. And there's a whole process of, you know, you can never lose your cool, you know, come back come back with this list of documents, and you diligently bring your get your documents together, walk back into the bank proudly and say, here's my dossier of all the things that I know, but today's Tuesday, so we need this other document as well. And by the time you come back, they're going to be expired. So you need, and then you just have to smile, because if you lose your patience, then Latinos flip. And what you need is friends. And your friend in the bank is going to go, oh, that document isn't right, but okay, we'll take it, right? If you've upset them last week when you got a bit frustrated because you're a bit late getting home for your dinner, they'll remember you and they'll screw you over. So you always just got to keep a smile on your face and work through things diligently, and so you can open a bank account if you need it. But really, most people don't, because if you're just coming down for 8 or 12 weeks of the year, if you people just work either with credit cards, take some cash out, and that seems to be the way to go.
And you talked about banks. We've talked about a lot. You do have these ancillary services that you mentioned. You have a property management. You've got through VIP Tamarindo, and then you've got construction companies as well, or connections with that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And really, that's the area I love. Developing is where I'd say my passion lies within the works for, I like finding homes for people and all the rest of it, but actually building homes is I love. And so our core business is real estate sales, luxury homes or condos. We have the property management company VIP Tamarindo because it's a perfect adjacency. So people come in and they buy and they go, okay, now I've got this and I'm leaving for 3 months. What should I do? And well, we've got security, we've got pool cleaners, everything we need, and then we fill it with renters, collect the money, pay the bills, and then it's a worry-free project for them. And then of course we do the concierge stuff. So we do yacht charters and day tours and airport pickups and all those kind of things.
Fantastic. Nothing like a full service that everybody appreciates when they keep their cool.
I want to work with good clients. I've fired clients before because I think if you're coming out there, you need to be good and respectful to the people around you, and that. So most people are. I mean, most of the people that come down are just totally awesome and love it. But once in a while, and we've got some renters in right now, and I'll be glad to see the back of them.
Well, I've made it a habit to learn to smile at the local people and wave and just be friendly and make friends with. And quite frankly, they're industrious people here. They're working in some places 2 or 3 jobs, and they've got wonderful family ethics. So if you stay out of the judgmental aspect and control your emotions, let's just say that, then there are relationships to be had, which is valuable to all of us, and make this the peaceful place that we claim it to be, right? So
right, absolutely. I'd say the people here, the Costa Rican people, Ticos, are one of the best attributes of the country, because they work at their own speed, and that's fine. I mean, that's fault of the Spanish, really. But they're the most beautiful, genuinely nice people. They're not after your money in the most part. They're just genuinely interested in talking to you and learning about your culture and being your friend. And I think they're absolutely really lovely people. I've been all around Latin America and Latin countries in Europe, and I think the Costa Rican people are just the best. They're completely awesome.
Delightful. I'm speaking with Richard Lacey, Coldwell Banker Tamarindo, and we already mentioned that if you want to subscribe, I suggest you do subscribe to Tamarindo Rich on YouTube. But also, if you want to connect with Richard directly to talk about some of the things about real estate, your dreams and aspirations for perhaps relocating to Central America, this peaceful country that we have here, it's Richard at cbtamarindo.com. And great conversation, Richard. We covered a lot of ground here in a half hour here. Anything else you wanted to mention before we go?
No, Dave, I think that's it. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'd say if you're thinking about coming over, then just do it. Just jump on a plane, come over. September and October, really rainy months, but any other time of the year, I'd say just come over. And it's just, you know, if it's just for a vacation, you know, or for a relocation, I think it's just the best country, really.
Great conversation, Richard. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon.
Okay, sounds good.